After the dying village, the young monk walked for weeks. He did not return to the temple. He did not send word to anyone. Stories of enlightenment usually end at the moment of clarity, the rain, the mud, the kneeling in the dirt. But for the young monk, the storm in the village was only the start of something else. For a few moments in that village, he had felt the scriptures come alive in his own body. He had moved without fear, seeing life as clearly as a bubble or a shadow. But as he walked north through the autumn rain, that clarity began to leak away. By the third day, sitting beside a dying woman, the old doubts returned, the thinking returned, the fear returned. He was walking north because he realized that seeing a door is not the same thing as walking through it. He had glimpsed the truth, but he didn't yet know how to live there. It is Sunday evening in Seoul, 2026. Jieun is back in her apartment, looking at a list of questions that now fills 3 full pages. She has spent months performing a busy life, sending emails, making plans, and conducting conversations she doesn't believe in. Underneath all those excuses is a single question she's been trying not to answer. What is the one thing she knows to be true, but has been refusing to act on? She turns the page of her book and reads, "After the village, the young monk did not return to the world he had left." She realizes that knowing the truth while refusing to move toward it creates a unique kind of weight. It's the feeling of being trapped in the space between who you were and who you've become. The young monk had a path of least resistance. He could have gone south, back to his temple and his students. His reputation was even greater now. Word had spread that he was the only teacher who hadn't fled the sickness. He could have returned south as a hero, but he would have spent his life performing as an awakened man rather than being one. So he walked north instead. But walking away just led to aimless wandering through markets and shrines. He slept under trees when he wasn't welcomed in villages. He ate when he was offered food and went without when he wasn't. He was refusing to use his status to open a single door, waiting to understand what had happened to him in that storm. He was finding that simply leaving home isn't enough. Without a specific direction, the road is just another way to stay lost. Jieun looks at the monk's choice and recognizes her own 2 directions. Her south is the safety of her current career. It's the metrics, the proposals, and the predictable praise she gets for doing work she no longer respects. Her north is that one hard question on her notepad. It's the path of leaving her excuses behind and acting on what she already knows. Her mind reaches for the familiar routines, trying to convince her that it's too late or too difficult to change the direction of her life. This is the moment where most people turn back. When the reality of what we've discovered hits the reality of how much we'd have to change, the old world starts to look very welcoming. The wandering ended when the monk reached a small, forgotten temple near a mountain summit. The path up was steep and overgrown. The buildings were in disrepair. He told the abbot he was looking for a wall he could not climb out of. He was done with the open road. He wanted a space where he couldn't run from his own thoughts. The abbot led him to a small, empty hut and told him not to come out until he had nothing left to learn from its walls. The monk sat down on the bare wooden floor, and the door closed. He had spent weeks walking through the country, but the most difficult 3 months of his life would be spent in this tiny, unmoving space. He needed these boundaries to force himself to stay with the truth he had seen. The road to the storm hadn't ended in the village. It had only led him here, to the point where he was willing to stop running and face what he had found. In her apartment, Jieun picks up her pen. She circles the one question she has spent a year avoiding. She opens her laptop, but not to start another project or proposal. She begins to write a single page about what she actually knows to be true. She doesn't have to finish it tonight. The act of writing the first line is her version of closing the door to that mountain hut. It is the decision to stop wandering. The road is empty again. The figure has disappeared into the mountains, and the mist has settled over the path. The lamp lit Maya Road in 1881 is the same lamp that now sits in your hands. You've seen the door. Now, what will you do with it?